Hey, quick note real quick, we're giving away a Nintendo Switch, Zelda, and a couple amiibos. By we, I mean this awesome group of channels right here. The link below has all the details you need to know. Check it out. The first time you pick up a game, you see the cover art, or box art as some call it. Sometimes it's really good. It shows you what the game is all about, its genre, its characters, or its world. Is it a story-driven game? A minimalist puzzle game? Is it more about exploration, or is it more about the characters and stories? Telling you all of this is the job of the box art, and that's why back in the day it was even more important. Before the internet was in everyday use, you only had spoken word or magazines to tell if a game was good or not. So other than that, you got to rely on the box art. And as you can see by what is on screen now, sometimes box art artists have no idea what they're doing. What in the world were the people who made Phalanx thinking? Okay, what does a banjo-wielding old man have to do with space? I mean, just throw up some gameplay footage and tell me that at first glance of this box, you didn't immediately think this gameplay. And what is this unicorn vomit stain? Is that supposed to be a spaceship? And now for an example of good box art from the same era. Out of this world. Look here, we have our protagonist standing out on this point of the cliff, Titanic style, taking in this breathtaking view of all of the treacherous terrain that you're going to cross in this game. And it all leads up to this tower, which is nearly touching the stormy clouds. The lightning bolt on the top of the tower draws your eye to it, gives you a focal point. This is your destination. This journey is the game, and this alien dude is in it too. You know what I don't like seeing? Great games getting terrible covers. Here's one. Strider. Though, admittedly, this cover isn't that bad, it's just... Who is this guy? Is this supposed to be Strider Hiryu, the Japanese cyborg ninja with dark brown hair and a laser sword? No? Well then, who is it? This is almost as bad as Fabio being on the cover of Wizards and Warriors 2, Iron Sword. Fabio, you are not in this game! Get out and put a shirt on. You're not even that attractive. Of course, the most notable and well-known example of this is with the original Mega Man cover. Mega Man, as I'm sure you are aware, is a classic. It has a huge legacy, and to think that this legacy was almost ruined solely because of the game's cover art? Sheesh. But I mean, this dude has no neck. It looks nothing like Mega Man, and he just has a plain old gun. His proportions are all off. Where is his forearm? This artist can't even draw palm trees right. Why is it like this? Well, I'll tell you. As it turns out, Capcom actually forgot to get a guy to make the box art, and continued on forgetting until it was almost time to publish the game. So, they got a guy with very short notice, and this person also has no idea what the game is, only the very basics, like it's about a robot guy in a future machine-like world. Gotta do some planning, people. Now, let's look at some more modern games. Look at the cover to Dead Space. Obviously something catastrophic has happened to this space station. Something so catastrophic that this dude's arm got ripped off and is now floating in space. This tells you everything you need to know about Dead Space, and in a very awesome way. This is what a cover should be. Left 4 Dead is another good example. It also did the hand thing, but now it's a hand of a zombie reaching for the sky. Its thumb has fallen off, and thus there are only 4 fingers, hence Left 4 Dead, as the game involves 4 survivors fighting their way through zombies. It's a simple cover, but one that does a very good job. The sequel, Left 4 Dead 2, does the same thing, though now the hand is primarily holding up 2 fingers since this is the second game. Also, while the first game's box was primarily green, which is a common color for zombies and biohazards and infections and all that, this cover is much more yellow, which... Maybe this is just me and my Californian sensibilities, but this particular shade of color screams the Deep South, which is perfect as that's where the game takes place, in the southern US. But I don't know, maybe that's just me and my biases. As for this next cover, though... Like, just imagine if Nintendo took a picture of some dude's hand holding the Metroid cartridge, and that picture was the cover of the game. This is stupid. Don't just take a picture of your game and call that the cover art. Konami did this too with this beautiful piece of what not to do. The regular cover art is fine, but why add in the DS logo a second time? Why don't you just crop in on the original box so you can squeeze in your little greatest hits tagline? It's not that hard! You know what I want to see? More cover arts like that of Xenoblade Chronicles and its sequel, X. Actually, especially its sequel. Here we get a good look at what the overworld is like. We get to see what the main characters are like in the game, and you see the mech that you pilot. This cover explains everything. Epic sci-fi fantasy quest. You know what doesn't explain its game very well? The cover to Super Bust-A-Move 2. I mean, if you had played the first one, yeah, you'd understand it's kind of a wacky game, but imagine picking this up in the store for the first time having never heard of this franchise before. You would think it's a horror game! This man has toothpicks, holding his eyes open while he screams in agony! Not to mention the creepy dark purple color palette, and that there are multiple copies of his face, each trapped in their own little bubbles of pain. Thankfully, by the time the third one rolled around, they did do a bit of a better job. It's a game all about these colorful orbs, so yeah, there you go. Thanks, cover art. But, just what's with the sex symbols? You know, forget I asked. Now, you would think that by the time your 10th main game rolled around, it would be well known enough of a series that you can start getting really creative with the cover art, right? Yeah, and that's why I love the cover to Final Fantasy X. It's so cool. Previous Final Fantasies typically had their characters on the cover, just like most other games. But now, in order to stand out, Squaresoft went with this more minimalist approach, showing the logo to the game in all of its mystical beauty. So colorful, so clean, it's gorgeous. But then they still went their usual route with this version of the cover, showing off the protagonist in the water. It still plays a central role to the plot, so I guess it works, it's good. But I mean, I still lean towards this minimalism, for sure. And speaking of minimal and well-known games, the cover of Sonic & Knuckles. Sonic was a cultural icon at this point, so going with this more minimal but oh so cool, edgy even emblem on top of this black background, this was rad. What's not so rad is inversion. I give this game cover the "You Tried" award because the idea behind the cover is quite good. In the game, you mess with gravity and stuff while shooting at baddies, so having the title and the dude sideways is smart. Also upside down, by the way, that's the sky. But then, could you have gotten a more generic-looking man looking as generically bored as physically possible as he shoots something off-screen? Like, seriously, there's nothing going on here besides the gravity shift. Have damage happening in the moment. Have the dude in some position like he just landed on the wall while falling and shooting at the same time. Something! Give me action! It's an action game. The game needs action on the cover. Like this! Mad World gets it right. An all black and white and red game all about hacking and slashing your way through enemies with your chainsaw gauntlet thing. It's full of over-the-top violence and action, and this cover shows that off perfectly with the bloody saw and this burly dude angrily leaping forward, ready to attack whatever pulsar resides just off to the lower left. The box art for Ico, or Eco, on the other hand, is another great example of cover art. It's a painting that shows our two main characters holding hands through these desolate but very interesting looking ruins. Exactly what the game is. And this cover captures it well. But then why did the American version get this lame sauce? Yes, confused horror boy, barely hold onto your stick weapon and stay away from the ghost lady. Why did Americans get such a crappy cover compared to the original? Well, I'll tell you why. In a later video. Shameless plug, please subscribe or you're a bug. I've been wanting to do a video about regional differences in cover art for forever now, and how it reflects each region's culture. It's such an interesting thing, and that's a video that's gonna happen soon. And you can find out when exactly by following me on Twitter, or the new Discord server. That's right, a new awesome place to interact with me and fellow viewers, all within a variety of topics with custom emojis and all kinds of things. Check out that link in the description, and also, remember, giving away a Nintendo Switch? Top of the description. Stumbling over my words. Until next time, remember to stay awesome.